Hey, welcome to the channel. Today I want to share something with y'all that I've been doing, and also I want to share a trade that I found really interesting today. One of the things that I realized as I was practicing trading and journaling my trades is I realized that my main problem with trading is my perfectionism and my need, like deep need to be right about things. This was a problem because as I was trading, I wanted the trade to go well so much that I would get like scared to enter trades because I was scared to fail. So anyways, I started trying to figure out how to solve this problem. And I created this little experiment of mine. Okay, so I came up with this experiment sort of thing to try to overcome my perfectionism when trading. And I don't know if this is going to work, but this is the method that has worked for me in other areas. So I'm trying it out. And if you want me to go into more details about it, I can do a whole video on it, but that's not what this video is. This video is mostly about a trade that I'm telling you about, or about practicing in a trade. So let me know if anybody else deals with this perfectionism problem and if you're interested in what I'm trying out. No guarantees that it works. I don't know. This is the trade that I paper took today. That's the entry, but I'm going to walk through what happened and why I decided to enter at this point. We had been in a trading range right here. This was overnight. We had been in a pretty steady trading range as far as I could see. And then at first I tried this trade right here. You'll see we were going up and I thought we would hit this and come back down, and I really should have had my stop loss higher. I really should have had my stop loss be at the top of this smaller trend channel. But anyways, it's one of those cases where it went in my direction, but not before first faking me out. I think that's what they call it, faking out. But anyways, we're not really talking so much about that one. What we're talking about is the second trade, which I think was a more interesting trade to me, at least. So after this tight trading range, we had a really strong breakout. And I mean, this was like a massive strong breakout. I don't know if there was some particular data that was released at this point. I couldn't find any, but maybe there was. Something obviously happened, and it was a super strong breakout. It pretty quickly had a small trading range, but we pretty quickly came back up to retest, and it actually was even though it looked super strong, it was a failed breakout. We did not stay below this trading range. I don't think I have very often seen a breakout with such a strong bar like this and then it fails. But I mean, I guess the fact that it only went down in one bar and then the second one was I would call that a doji, and it had a really long tail, like bottom tail. So it really was a single bar breakout. And anyways, we came back up into the trading range, and right about here is when the markets opened. So we came up and we broke through the top of that trading range. So first we broke through the bottom, then we broke through the top. But we pretty quickly came back into the trading range. So this breakout failed. So this was the first failure, and it was a kind of I would call it an anomaly of a failure. And then here's the second failure to break out of the trading range. And then we enter back into the trading range, and we have a really strong trend downward. I mean, look how many red trend bars we have without any green bars. So strong trend downwards, and then a little bit back up. And I started noticing around here, I guess it was around here, that we are doing something kind of funny where we've exited the trading range several times. We've exited the trading range 1, 2, 3 times now, and we don't have a clear trend in one direction because our highs are getting lower, but our lows are getting higher. So that's not really what you would expect in a one-way trend. So it's sort of like a two-way trend, or I think I've heard it called is it like a condensing trading range maybe, or a converging trading range? But that's what I noticed. And once I noticed that, it seems like when that happens, we come to a point, like these two trend lines converge. And when we come to this point, we are either going to break out to the up or to the down of this sort of sideways triangle. And most of the time, I feel like it's pretty much a 50-50. It's hard to tell which way it's going to break. But in this particular case, I had like a slight inkling that we might break to the upside. And the reason why I thought that was a couple of things. If we zoom out further, you'll see we have a trend line down here. So we are still overall in an upward trend. But I mean, you know, the counter argument you could say is that like at some point we're going to return to this trend line. So you could have said maybe we're going to break out to the downside to return to this trend line. That's a possibility. But I knew we were like our overall trend still appears to be to the upside because we have not broken this trend line yet. Okay, so that's one hint or clue. And then the other thing was once I saw this double bottom right here, and the other part of it, which I'll show you, is the opening range. If I look at, let me move this to the side. I don't use this indicator very often, or this, I don't know, I guess it is called an indicator. I don't use it very often, but it is sometimes helpful. This is the opening range that happened right here in this green part. It's like basically the opening market. And it tells us the bottom and the top of what happened during the opening hours or opening hour. And I could see that we had basically come very close to the bottom of it, and we had already broken out of the top earlier. So I had the inclination that since we're close to the bottom, having a double bottom, that we're probably going to head back up to the top of the opening range. And, you know, that wasn't a sure bet, and that wasn't a 60% sure bet, but I just had like an inkling that's what was going to happen. So once we hit the double bottom, I bought like at some point during this bar, what I would normally like is to have the double bottom and then to like buy at the print of this bar. But I think I bought like in the middle of it. And I set my stop loss to, I actually went to the bottom of this right here, I think. So like if we faked out like a tick or two below this double bottom, I wanted to be able to catch it. And I put my profit right almost to the top of the trend line. And sure enough, we went right up to that trend line, bounced off of it, went above it for just one bar, and then came back down. And you can see how we are still in this trend line. Like this trading range is really sticking with us, even though we continue to go below it and above it and below it and above it. It's just like we're stuck to it like glue at this point. Those were my trades that I made today. One of them was a loser, but it was a small loss. And then one of them was a winner, but it was a larger win. And that's really what I'm trying to impress upon my little brain and get my like subconscious to understand, is that the losses are okay. They are expected. So long as I am following a consistent risk to reward ratio and I'm doing all of that kind of stuff correctly, then it's going to all work out, and I need to stop worrying about every single trade being a winner. So anyways, that is what I'm working on. If you have that problem, then stick around because I'm going to have to talk about it a lot more. Thanks so much for joining, and I'll see you next time.